I'm Colin Parsons and welcome back to my channel From Business with Love. Now I created this channel because for the last 30 years I've worked for other people, for big corporations, small, medium size, and I've for the last 5 years wanted to build my own company, and I've had many ideas, and now I'm in a situation where it makes sense to actually try and build that. And I've often asked people if they would that have started their own business if they documented their challenges along the way, and they haven't. And I felt that it was a very useful thing to do, almost like therapy for myself, but to document to other people that are trying to build their own business and see what some of the struggles are, and see maybe the things that you can navigate around and don't get too caught up with, but also identify on things that are familiar and people do go through them. We see in the press all the time these success stories of, okay, this startup business, exited for hundreds of millions or whatever. But there's so many companies that are starting up and they have challenges. Now, I'm doing this on my own. I have an idea of a few things that I want to do. How I'm shaping that along the way is challenging, and it often changes. Now, this is annoying for me, but I'm still trying to progress. Now, my biggest challenge, like I've talked to you before, is about LinkedIn, and I continue to do that every single day. I engage for a minimum of 20 minutes in people's content, and I don't comment on things that I don't like or don't think that they're for me. It's not about a volume game. It's about adding thoughtful comments to other people's videos and content. Now, what I found this week is that I'm naturally trying to promote other people. So there's people I've worked with or people I've now connected with on LinkedIn, and I can see some of them are doing really well, and they just don't seem to have an audience just yet. I'm sure they'll be very successful. But I also see that maybe they don't quite see it in themselves, the skills, certainly around the copywriting. Now, there's one guy in particular, uh, his, his ability to tell a story and capture you from the first sentence is amazing. And I've promoted him to my audience, and I think it's really good. Hopefully that will give him some traction. Now, tied to this, I've talked about the metrics of LinkedIn, and the reality is, I've said to you that I try and track the numbers. Now, I'm at 1,816 subscribers, which in reality isn't a lot. There's people with hundreds of thousands, even millions. But for me, it's a start. Like I said to you last week, I've been tracking those numbers. Now, sadly, I found that there were two people that stopped following me. And my personality kind of latched onto that a little bit. And I was questioning, well, why? Is it my content? I don't know who these people are. And I was a bit down, and I kept clicking that refresh button every day just to see how many subscribers I've got. And it was strange. It took me off. I was like, well, what's wrong? And I didn't overly think it, but it was still burning a hole in the back of my mind. And I was paying it too much attention that I didn't really want to. But the reality was, a couple of days later, I got 4 more followers. Now, it seems silly that I was essentially looking at the negative side. I don't know if that's part of my personality. I've always wanted people to like me, and I'm trying to put out content. But the reality is, not everyone's supposed to like you. Not everyone's going to follow you. So that's okay. But it's easy to get caught in that cycle, especially when you're working on your own. You don't really necessarily know, and you're just looking for some sort of validation that you're doing a good job. So I've moved on from there, but it was one of those things that took me off. So what else? I think something came up this week where I was a bit derailed about a negative belief about a situation that happened. I can't really go into the details, but yeah, kind of my mind went a bit spinning and sort of took me off guard a little bit. And it's really strange, because I was taught a while ago that when there's discomfort, then you should lean into that and be curious and ask yourself what's going on. And I did that. And It's taken me a couple of days, and I've had to put it down in a journal and rephrase it, trying to get it out of my brain and not let it be a thought that, sort of builds up and up in my brain. But essentially, I've leaned into what the problem is, and the problem really starts with me, and it's something that I would normally sort of run away from. And I don't like messing up. I don't like getting things wrong, especially when my intention was good. So um, I'm leaning into it. I know that there's some discomfort there. And it's when you feel that discomfort, it's worth being curious and not trying to beat yourself up, not let the critic in your mind overtake you and sort of ask too many questions that blame you, but just being curious of what is that and understanding yourself a bit more. So I've done it. I'm still working through it. But these things are going to come up all the time. And, I think the journey is an important one to understand yourself, be more aware of situations. And I've taken it as a good lesson because I don't know where my business is going to go. I'm still waiting for my profiling from my coach, and hopefully we're going to get some details next week. She's already talked about some of the areas, but the actual feedback itself is coming next week, which is great news because hopefully that will help me give some clarity around, excuse me, some of the areas that I should be focusing and allowing those ones that I'm not that great at to sort of just sort of sit by the side. So that's it from me. Not a huge amount to report this week. So next week, I hope it'll be a bit more positive. So, but that's business, right? So I hope you're all well. And if you're watching this, I really appreciate it. If there's anything you want to know, please put a comment below and I'll come back to you. Thanks, everyone.